Silence is a strange kind of power. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, and yet it has the ability to control entire rooms, shift outcomes, and win battles without ever lifting a finger. Those who truly understand power don't waste their energy proving themselves out loud. Instead, they reserve that energy, letting their silence create tension, mystery, and authority. Robert Greene, the author of the 48 Laws of Power, discovered that silence isn't just a behavior, it's a strategy, one that the most powerful people throughout history have mastered because they knew that the person who speaks the least often controls the most. If you're watching this video right now, take a moment to comment below and tell us where you're tuning in from. We love knowing how far this message travels. And if you find this valuable, please click the like button and subscribe. It supports the channel more than you know, and you won't miss any future insights that can help you master the art of influence. Silence works because it creates space. In that space, people fill in their own interpretations, often imagining more power in you than you actually have. Imagine walking into a negotiation and one party starts talking immediately, filling the air with nervous explanations and arguments. The other party stays calm, quiet, watching, listening. In most cases, the quiet person will be perceived as more in control, even if they aren't, because silence signals confidence, and confidence is often mistaken for strength. Take Napoleon Bonaparte. He was known for his long silences during meetings. He would often wait, letting others speak, watching them reveal their thoughts, weaknesses, and emotions. Only after they exposed themselves would he speak, and by then he had all the information he needed to make the perfect move. Napoleon understood what Robert Greene teaches. Power belongs to those who observe, not those who constantly speak. Think of the courtroom. The prosecutor and the defense attorney argue, presenting evidence, raising voices. But the judge? The judge says little. They listen, they watch, and when they speak, everything stops. Their words carry weight because they are rare. That's what silence does. It increases the perceived value of your words. In everyday life, we often feel the need to explain ourselves. We want to be understood, so we talk. We want to seem smart, so we talk more. But in doing so, we give away information, reveal our insecurities, and lose the upper hand. Silence, used wisely, flips the balance of power. Robert Greene's Law No. 4 says, always say less than necessary. Why? Because the more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. The more you talk, the more ordinary you seem. But when you stay quiet, people start to wonder. They become unsure, and in that uncertainty they become cautious, and you gain the advantage. Think about Steve Jobs, known for his presentations and product launches, yes, but behind the scenes he was intensely silent in meetings. He would let others pitch ideas, argue over details. He'd sit quietly, absorbing, calculating. When he finally spoke, his opinion would shape the entire direction of the company. Silence gave his words power. This works even in family dynamics. The person who always speaks up, who always reacts, is often the one taken for granted. But the one who listens, who waits, who chooses their moments carefully, they hold a different kind of authority. They are respected, sometimes even feared, because others don't quite know what they're thinking. It's important to understand that silence isn't the same as passivity. Silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing more with less. It's the art of being strategic, of waiting for the right moment, of letting others underestimate you while you quietly gather strength. It's not about avoiding conflict, it's about choosing when to engage and how to do it on your own terms. Powerful people don't just speak less, they listen more. They listen for what's not being said. They read between the lines. They study tone, body language, hesitation. In silence, you gain the gift of perspective. While others are busy talking, you're collecting insight. And insight is power. In relationships, both personal and professional, silence can shape the dynamic. When you respond to criticism or insult with silence, you often win. Not because you let it slide, but because you deny the other person the reaction they want. You keep your dignity, and in doing so, you keep control. Robert Greene describes this in The Law of Deflection, when you deflect attacks not with more attacks, but with restraint. Silence is the highest form of restraint. It also applies to leadership. Loud leaders may gain temporary attention, but the quiet ones are often the ones people truly follow. Why? Because they're not performing. They lead with presence, not noise. They build trust, not through flashy speeches, but through consistent action and thoughtful silence. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history, is known for speaking very little in meetings. He listens, he reflects, and when he speaks, people take notes, because his silence has taught them that when he does speak, it's meaningful. That kind of silent authority can't be faked. It's built over time. Let's be clear, this isn't about being mysterious for the sake of it. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about recognizing that silence, when used intentionally, is a powerful tool. It allows you to control your presence, to keep others guessing, and to make your words count when you choose to use them. Even in times of conflict, silence can be your shield. It buys you time to cool down, time to think, time to respond with wisdom instead of emotion. Those who rush to respond often regret what they say, but those who pause, who stay silent, return to the conversation with clarity. And clarity is rare in a world full of noise. Power, in many ways, is about control over yourself, your environment, your influence. Silence gives you that control. It keeps you grounded. It helps you avoid traps. It lets others reveal themselves first. And in doing so, it puts you in a position to act with purpose. Even in ancient times, this was known. The Stoic philosophers taught the value of silence, of mastering one's tongue. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The wisest people throughout history have always known, speak less, observe more, act with intention. There's a reason powerful people don't broadcast their plans. The moment you speak of what you intend to do, you invite interference. People will judge, question, or even sabotage your ideas. But when you move in silence, you deny them that opportunity. You build momentum in private. You avoid criticism until it no longer matters. When the results are visible, they speak for you, and by then your silence has already won the war. Take the example of Jeff Bezos in the early days of Amazon. He didn't announce every strategy or market move. Much of what Amazon developed was done behind closed doors, revealed only when the execution was nearly complete. This quiet approach allowed the company to stay ahead of competitors who were too busy talking about what they were going to do. Bezos let the results speak. Robert Greene calls this "conceal your intentions," another law of power. If others don't know what you're thinking, they can't prepare for your next move. This creates unpredictability, and unpredictability creates fear. And in the game of power, fear often leads to submission. Silence builds that fear, not through aggression, but through uncertainty. Think about chess. The best players don't announce their strategies. They move quietly, patiently. Each move is calculated, and silence is their default. They observe, they wait, and when the time is right, they strike. Loud players reveal themselves too quickly. Silent ones dominate the game. The same principle applies to influence. When you speak constantly, people stop listening. But when you rarely speak and when your silence is intentional, people lean in. They want to know what you're thinking. They become curious. And curiosity creates attention, the most valuable currency in a noisy world. Silence also protects your energy. Talking takes effort, especially when you're defending yourself, explaining your choices, or justifying your actions. The more you speak, the more you drain yourself. But when you stay quiet, you conserve energy, and that energy becomes available for what truly matters: action, strategy, movement. This is why so many great minds retreat into silence before making big decisions. They disconnect, they get quiet, they reflect, because noise is the enemy of clarity. And without clarity, power becomes reckless. Silence allows you to reconnect with your instincts, your goals, your values. It aligns your internal compass. Take Barack Obama. Regardless of political views, many people noticed his measured way of speaking. He often paused before answering questions. That pause was not weakness. It was strength. It showed that he was thinking, choosing his words. That pause made people listen. Silence, even for a few seconds, drew attention and created impact. On the flip side, those who are constantly talking often lose credibility. They may seem insecure, needing to fill every gap with words. Over time, people tune them out. But those who speak less, who pause, who withhold, those people are remembered because they break the rhythm of noise. In Robert Greene's world, silence isn't passive. It's active. It's a weapon. It's a wall that protects your thoughts, your emotions, and your plans. It's the space in which strategy lives. And when used well, it creates gravity. People feel it, they notice it, and they respect it even if they don't understand it. Consider the way lions hunt. They don't roar while stalking prey. They move silently, patiently, invisibly. Their silence is their strength. The roar comes only after the kill, and by then it's too late. That's how power operates. Not with noise, but with calculated stillness. Even in social settings, silence changes dynamics. In a group conversation, the one who listens more than they speak often ends up with the most respect. Why? Because they're not desperate to be heard. They're absorbing, they're choosing, they're aware. And when they do speak, their words carry more meaning. There's a kind of silence that creates intimacy. When you sit with someone in silence and it doesn't feel awkward, that's connection. That's presence. Words aren't always necessary. In fact, sometimes they dilute the moment. Powerful people understand when to speak and when to say nothing at all. But silence isn't easy. It requires discipline. It requires the ability to tolerate discomfort, to resist the urge to explain, to defend, to react. And in that resistance, you gain self-mastery. The less you react, the more power you have. The less you speak, the more others reveal. It's a discipline that separates the powerful from the powerless. Robert Greene teaches that in silence, your actions speak louder. Because when you say nothing, all eyes shift to what you do. Your behavior becomes your message. And people trust actions more than words. So when you move in silence and act with precision, your power becomes undeniable. Silence is also a form of emotional intelligence. It allows you to respond instead of react. It gives you time to understand the emotions behind the situation. It protects you from saying something in anger that you'll later regret. The most powerful people are not those who speak the most. They're the ones who choose their moments carefully. You don't need to be cold or distant to be silent. You can be kind, warm, and approachable, while still knowing when to hold your tongue. Silence doesn't mean isolation, it means awareness. Awareness of your words, your timing, and your impact. In the world of business, politics, and relationships, silence is leverage. It allows you to gather information without revealing your hand. It allows you to let others underestimate you, and it allows you to surprise them when the time is right. Power is often hidden in silence, waiting for its moment. Remember, not every silence needs to be filled. Not every opinion needs to be spoken. Not every truth needs to be declared. Silence gives you control over what you share and what you keep. And in that control there is freedom. At the end of the day, power isn't about volume. It's about presence. It's about being so in control of yourself that you don't need to speak to be heard. That's what Robert Greene discovered. That's what the great leaders, thinkers, and strategists have always known. If you found value in this message, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to continue bringing you these timeless lessons that can transform the way you live, lead, and influence others.